So now we're ready to select sprites and create and program objects and set up our first room. In this lesson, I'll really just go over creating the sprites, the objects, and the room, and then we'll move on to actually programming the objects to do things. So under sprites here, if I right-click, I can go to create sprite. I've shared before that you could just click on the Pac-Man icon for create a sprite. So I'm going to create a sprite. Now, I can go into the sprite editor and create my own sprite right off the bat, but I'm going to use an existing sprite. And I'm going to call my main character SPR_main. Now, the SPR_ or the SPR is a prefix. It's important to use a common naming convention, or I should say a consistent naming convention when you're naming your resources in GameMaker or in any programming language for that matter, because it makes it easier to identify them and to later call back upon them, whether you're doing it through variables or not. So I tend to use a three-letter prefix, the underscore, and then the word. Some people prefer this method, SPR, and then capital M for main. Either way is perfectly fine as long as you stay consistent, in my opinion. Okay? So I'm going to now load the image for this sprite main. Now, in this case, I'm going to show you if you have GameMaker 8 installed on your computer, there are a number of sprites available. I can't seem to find a number of sprites available specifically for GameMaker Studio, but you can download resource packs from the Yo-Yo Games website, and then you could put those in the directory that you would refer to. So in my case, though, I'm going to go to where I have GameMaker 8.1 installed, which is under Program Files x86, GameMaker 8.1, and then there's a Sprites folder. And then in there are a number of folders. I'm going to use a few from the Maze platform folder. Okay? For my main character, I happen to like this NPC boy, so I'm going to use him for now. And I'm going to put it, that's my sprite, okay? And I'm going to also want two additional sprites. I'm going to want a sprite, I'll hit OK there. I want a sprite for a wall object for my maze. So I'm going to load a sprite for that as well, and luckily I have a wall block in this folder, so I'll use that, and I'll call it SPR wall. Click OK, and then one more I'll use an enemy sprite to avoid in my maze game. Call him SPR Ghost. And as luck would have it, there is a ghost in here. Okay? So sprite Ghost. So now I basically have three sprites or graphics ready for my game. Now I'm going to need to create objects for them because the objects are the part I could program. Sometimes you'll find that you'll have several objects that use the same sprite, but the different objects might be programmed to do different things even though they're represented by the same image. So I'm going to create all three of these. I'm going to use the OBJ prefix, main, and then sprites that I have already loaded are here. So I'm going to click OK for now. Later, this is where the programming would happen. I can program events and actions. Okay, now I'm going to add the other two. And finally, my ghost. There we go. Now, right now, I don't have a room yet, so I can't even show anything. So I am going to create one room for now. And under settings, I'm going to just use a two-letter prefix RM for this, and I'm going to call it level 1. And I will go under objects, and this is where you can decorate the room. I could have changed the width and height, and for other types of games, later we certainly will. And then there are other tabs to be concerned with at a later time. Right now, we'll probably deal early on with settings, objects, and backgrounds. But for objects, I'm going to first put in the walls, let's say. So let's just say I could click, 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 or I could hit Shift, whoops, Shift, Control will let me paint them on. In GameMaker 8.1, it was just Shift. Okay, I probably want to now at least put my main character in, put him right here, let's say, and now I'll need some more walls to create the maze. Oops. Control, right-click deletes, or right-click and then choosing delete would work too. Right now, my player, where would he go? Let's say I want him to go... Okay. All right, let's see. In this case, let's see, maybe I want him to ultimately have to end up here, let's just say. Okay, so ultimately I would probably need a goal also, which I could maybe put right here, and we'll deal with that later as well. So now I ultimately would put my ghosts in also, but I'm going to wait a little while till we decide how we're going to program them. But so far, this showed you how to add the sprites, create objects using the sprites as a graphic, and place those objects in the room. We didn't program anything yet. That will come next. See you in the next video.